Hi, John Veely, CEO of Online Visas. Welcome to another one of our shows on immigration during the coronavirus. This might be one of our last ones we do regarding the coronavirus. So we'll obviously do more work on immigration and those topics. Go to our YouTube channel if you'd like to subscribe and see our content there. We're going to do a series on immigration for different professions. We'd like to have you see some of that stuff. If you turn on your notifications, we can keep you in the loop on there. But today is a massive day for immigration. Today, according to an article in Forbes by my favorite author or reporter on immigration, Stuart Anderson. He's a senior contributor in leadership strategy, and he covers business and immigration and stuff like that. Anyway, I talk about Stuart a lot, but he put out an article today, USCIS ITServe settlement overturns 10 years of H-1B visa policies. Now, you might check out on our YouTube channel Conversations in Immigration I had with the lawyer that won the ITServe Alliance case. His name is John Wasden, so a big shout out to John, great victory. And all the guys at ITServe, a lot of guys there. Gopi Kandakuri was big. Satish Manduva was big at the beginning of deciding to litigate against USCIS. Kishore Kandavali, big consultant, was very involved in the determination to hire Jonathan. I was part of that process. I got to look at a lot of denials that were happening in the staffing industry space and provide some analysis on how to look at litigating. So kudos. After a number of great victories that happened in March and February, USCIS has conceded. They are going to withdraw what's called the Contracts and Itineraries memorandum that came out in February of 2018. So really some great news on behalf of H-1B filing. So to put a little of this in perspective, in Mr. Anderson's article, you can go down and it talked about a couple of cases. So this great case that came down in Washington, D.C. District Court that Mr. Wasden won called ITServe versus Cisna. Francis Cisna was the head of USCIS that came down in March. But in Georgia on May 20th, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Georgia in a case called Serenity Infotech versus Ken Cuccinelli. Cuccinelli is now the head of immigration. It followed the judge in D.C. That was Judge Collier's decision in the ITServe Alliance suit, and followed that. So what happened is USCIS and ITServe settled. So they're going to rescind rescind in its entirety within 90 days the 2018 Contracts and Itinerary Memorandum, and they agreed to reopen and adjudicate individual agencies' decisions on H-1B adjudications that were subject to the ITServe Alliance lawsuit against USCIS, primarily the cases of its members, right? So an opportunity to go back and get those done. Third, in deciding the cases against USCIS, they agreed will not apply the interpretation of the current regulatory language defining the United States employer to require an analysis of the employer-employee relationship under common law, and USCIS agrees to comply with Judge Collier's March 10th, 2020 decision in ITServe Alliance versus Cisna. So, and then another one, fourth, in adjudicating the cases again, USCIS will not issue approvals for H-1B petitions with validity periods shorter than the time period requested by the H-1B petitioner unless such decisions include or accompanied by a brief explanation as why the validity period has been limited and in compliance with Judge Collier's March 10th, 2020 decision in ITServe Alliance versus Cisna. What that means, what immigration was doing, right, is if you couldn't prove to the day what somebody was going to do, if you placed them in a third-party location, they would give you a short-term approval that sometimes was literally days after the approval they sent out, or sometimes even approvals prior to the decision, meaning you get this approval in the mail on, say, May 1st, and the approval was for a visa that expired February 28th, right? So great day for immigration. Now, the ink is barely dry in this settlement, And on February 23rd, as part of the President Trump's proclamation on immigration, 3 entities, including Homeland Security, Department of Labor, and Department of State, are to provide the president what the impact of non-immigrant visas, that's like the H-1B, right? These are the non-immigrant, the ABCs of immigration. These are temporary work documents. Why, how those non-immigrant visas impact U.S. workers. So, it's the Trump administration. What's going to happen? I mean, are they going to double down? Or are they going to say, oh, you beat us in the court, but we've just changed the whole thing anyway because we're under the national emergency of the coronavirus, right? In that we have millions upon millions of people unemployed, 14.5% unemployment in the U.S. This is a political year. I've done another show called Trump Immigration, the plan for 2020. Check that out, in which we said what we think is that the president is going to use rolling 30 to 60 day memos against immigration. And the reason is easy if you look at it politically, that the coronavirus is not the fault of the Trump administration. It's the fault of foreigners. It was invented in China. It came over here. We had to close the borders because of it. And foreign individuals are taking American jobs. Unemployed people, don't be mad at us, be mad at them, right? So really waiting to see what happens there. We hope that doesn't happen. There's a lot of reasons that there shouldn't be some implication on the H-1B visa and others. One is I'm not sure that the regulations permit the president to do that. There is a regulation, subsection F, that says the president has authority over immigration into the United States. Immigration is a term of art. That is, non-immigrant visas are not immigration visas. Immigration is for green cards. That's why the president's proclamation deals with immigration visas. Those are green cards for people filing them outside the United States. And exempted in that proclamation, or not exempted, but what is not included in that proclamation are green cards or immigrant visas filed in the United States and non-immigrant visas at all, right? You know, consulates are closed, but if you file a non-immigrant visa in the United States, you can still do it. So watch out for that. This is John Veely, CEO of Online Visas. We're delivering dreams one visa at a time. Thanks a lot.